Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the faculty, administration, and special guests to today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of colors and the singing of our national anthem.
see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pastor Lynn Cohen for today's invocation.
Please join me in the invocation. Heavenly Father, we praise you at the beginning of this commencement ceremony to acknowledge your presence and give thanks. In this time of commencement, may we find together both celebration and challenge. Together, we celebrate the victories that have been won. Together, we celebrate the hardships that have been overcome. Together, we celebrate the lifelong relationships that have been made during these past 4 years. Today, Father, in our celebration, may these graduating students also accept the challenge of this commencement. Today is the launching of an unfamiliar yet adventurous and exciting journey that you have laid out before them. Father, I pray for your continued blessing and favor over each of them as they personally experience the tension between celebrating their incredible accomplishments and facing the new challenges of personal uncharted territory. I pray for continued courage and strength as each student now celebrates the completion of their learning and training experience at Western University of Health Sciences, Comp Northwest, and will now, as resident doctors, offer help to the helpless and hope to the hopeless. I pray for continued godly wisdom and godly understanding of the human body, soul, and spirit as these physicians encounter the pain and suffering of their patients whom they are privileged to meet each day. Like the Good Samaritan, I pray that each graduating physician will be an extension of your love and mercy to the sick, the injured, the lonely, the widows, and the orphans. I thank you, Father, for blessing our community with this excellent school of medicine. I thank you for the dedication of the professors, each administrator, the staff, and all the many supporting community members who have had a role in helping make this first year commencement a reality. Thank you for going with us from this day forward. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. You can be seated, folks. Members of the class of 2015, faculty, honored guests, trustees, administration, advancement board, family, and friends. I'm really delighted to welcome you here today to celebrate what is a truly historic occasion. It's historic and it's unique. And it's unique because this moment in time for me, if I were to use a personal privilege, this will be both the first and the last time as President of Western University of Health Sciences that I will preside over your graduation ceremonies. Some of you probably already have learned that I will retire in September after 38 years as president of Western University, and I'm glad for one final duty to see this inaugural class through to graduation. And as a graduation, we know it's always a special day in the lives of all the participants, the graduates, their families, faculty. It's special because each of these groups share a unique moment in time. And I'm sure the faculty will leave a part of themselves with each graduate. These faculty are professionals. They believe character in a student is as important as high grades. Our faculty want their students not to be just learned, but to be wise and decent and humane and generous and forgiving and light of heart. And the perfect gift this faculty gives to their students is the gift of their example. And now I'd like the faculty to rise and to be recognized. Faculty? A very important group that's going to be responsible for turning these graduates someday into your physician. And the graduates, I know, must feel a certain relief for the attainment of a coveted, well-earned goal. And I know the families are proud of what their loved ones have achieved, and I'm sure there are many stories about sacrifices, aspirations, overcoming great odds, and realizing the impossible dream. Each of you, I know, must well with pride as you share in this moment of joy. I want to take a moment to review the graduation exercises. This year, 5 ceremonies were held in Pasadena, California. The colleges of Podiatric Medicine, Allied Health Professions, Pharmacy, and Dental Medicine had their ceremonies on May 20th. The College of Optometry and the College of Graduate Nursing and the College of Veterinary Medicine held theirs on May 21st. And the College of Graduate Medical Sciences and the College of Osteopathic Medicine of the Pacific held theirs in Pomona on May 22nd. One of the more moving aspects of our program will be the hooding ceremony. At our first commencement in 1982, we began a tradition of family hooding. That was the time that members of the family had the opportunity to place the hood on the shoulders of the graduates, and this follows the receipt of the diploma. A commencement tradition that you will also see is the presentation of the university lapel pin to each graduate. They will be presented by our alumni representative, Mandolin Hudson, DO class of 2008, and based on the university seal and bearing the degree which the graduate has earned, the pin is offered as a gift to the newest members of the alumni family. Also, I want to recognize the fine work of the Commencement Planning Committee under the leadership of Kim Ketchum, Manager of Events and Special Projects, and our first-rate Information Technology Department, as well as the invaluable support of the Facilities and Physical Plant Department. I should also point out that Kelsey Anglin and the Anglin Creative Group had a major role to play in the ceremonies. Also, this program was developed 30 years ago by Dr. Jim May, Professor of Anatomy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce to you the chairman of our Board of Trustees, Dr. Richard Bond, who was the first graduate of the university. He's now chairman of the University Board of Trustees. And as Richard comes forward, I'd like our trustees who are present to rise and to be recognized. Trustees?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and pleasure to represent our Board of Trustees and to be with you today. Over the years, we've come to realize that each class of graduates, as a group, has a fascinating personality of its own. Let me give you a snapshot of this year's candidates. Of the 100 graduates here today, there are 55 men and 45 women. The average age of the graduates is 30. They've had many interesting careers, such as carpenter, lawyer, Peace Corps volunteer, and landscaper. When they've all received their diplomas, the total number of WesternU alumni from all programs will be 12,435. That's an awesome number. When I graduated, there was 31. Now let me speak to the graduates. Today, as you receive your degree and wonder perhaps where you will go, I tell you, nowhere but up. Today, you're on top of the world and think there is nothing higher than this, but there is a reason graduation is called commencement. For now, you commence the important work of the rest of your lives. Take with you the quest to be lifelong learners, and let humanism as well as science be the base of all of your actions. You are destined for great things. We knew this when we chose each one of you, and we know it now. Congratulations.
In July of 2011, I had the good fortune to welcome this inaugural class to medical school. It was a humbling experience then, as it is now. It had been a century since Oregon had seen a new medical school. Now we are graduating our first class. Many in this audience worked for decades towards this day, dedicating their careers to medical education. Many more in this audience embraced Comp Northwest and what we stand for, turning out repeatedly and at unexpected times to push us forward and help ensure our students' success. As we celebrate the graduation of our first class of osteopathic medical students from Comp Northwest, following a 34-year tradition at WesternU, we are grateful to all our supporters who stood by us to ensure that this day would come. On behalf of WesternU, I want to thank our community of Lebanon for opening up your hearts and embracing Comp Northwest and your medical students. Yes, Lebanon, you have a medical school. And today, you graduate your first 100 students. Our Comp Northwest story means many things. It means belonging to a strong family and tradition at WesternU. It means being part of a special community, the community of WesternU, Comp Northwest, Lebanon, osteopathic medicine, and our community of patients. For this charter class, who we are here today to graduate, community has been strong from the very beginning. From our first days, our supporters have surrounded us to help lay a lasting foundation of learning and of caring. This has been demonstrated in many ways with many examples. Starting with our Eastmoreland legacy, the nurses, doctors, and staff that lived a spirit that is instilled within Comp Northwest, a spirit that continues to flourish. David and Julie Walls at OPSO and David Tate from the Northwest Osteopathic Foundation, whose organizations serve as cornerstones for the osteopathic profession in our state. From our first interview days, when our preceptors and supporters came from around the state to help interview this first class, a tradition that continues every year thereafter. From the daily visits Mayor Ken and Thelma Toombs made to our building while it was in construction, to then City Manager John Hitt's welcome on the river, and then their welcome to our students every interview day. To our current Mayor, Paul Aziz, and our current City Manager, Gary Marks, who continue to extend the welcoming arm of support. To Bob Elliott, Bob and Betty Adams, Carol and John Dingus, Chief Stevenson and Chief Woodson. To Betty and Lynn Cohen, who never failed to show up at the right time to inspire and to remind. And to Jim and Heather McDaniels, whose imprint is everywhere in our walls at Comp Northwest. There's Arlen Lyle, Rick Peterson, Carol Cromwell, Becky Pape, Marty Cahill, all who helped to make Comp Northwest get launched. To the members of our advancement board who honor us with their service. To our patients who cheered our students on and encouraged us to do our very best to train our students well. Shirley Garrett at the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, to our chamber ambassadors, our strawberrians, our tools of the trade supporters, all of you who are in this audience today. From Mrs. Haley and Kindergarten University from the very early days, and Sue Spiker and Rob Hess and Literacy Day. From filling sandbags with our Lebanon Fire Department during your first year to helping out with Mini Medical School. And from our proud American Legion who are with us this morning, to Dr. Mullins and all of the Samaritan Health, SamFit, and their Heroes Run. And to Kelly Odegaard and our VA home, which means so much to us. And to Jeff Hetherington and Family Care, and our Hetherington and Rott Scholars. And to so many others, I can't possibly name you all, although I would really like to. The stories, the heartfelt connections, and the community surround us is part of what has created a very special environment for us at Comp Northwest. To the hundreds of osteopathic physicians who preceded us, laying the groundwork for this special day by breaking down barriers and establishing traditions of greatness. Your efforts and your hard work are seen in the faces of our graduates today. So on behalf of all of us, we wish to thank our communities for helping to make Comp Northwest a possibility and for being here today to help us celebrate this inaugural class, this class of 2015. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker, Dr. Jeff Hetherington, who is founder, president, and CEO of Family Care Health Plans, Oregon's oldest Medicaid managed care plan. Founded in 1985, Family Care began as a nonprofit company with $1,200 in donations and has now grown to serve over 117,000 Medicaid clients with $500 million in annual revenues. Family Care operates as a coordinated care organization in Oregon and continues to lead innovation, developing new service delivery models with special emphasis on growing robust primary care networks. In addition to Family Care, Dr. Hetherington founded the Coalition for a Healthy Oregon, a statewide association of Medicaid managed care companies to preserve and expand funding for the Oregon Health Plan. Dr. Hetherington's history with COMP dates back to its founding in 1977. While serving as Executive Director of the Osteopathic Physicians and Surgeons of Oregon, OPSO, Dr. Hetherington helped bring together WesternU and Samaritan Health Services to build Comp Northwest. Dr. Hetherington is member of the Comp Northwest Advancement Board and is awarded an honorary degree from WesternU in 2007. He has held far more positions on boards and volunteer activities than I could possibly read and do him justice today. Without further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Jeff Hetherington.
Well, good afternoon. This is a wonderful, wonderful day. We want to thank President Pomerantz and Dean Crone for taking care of the weather. Usually, we expect those of us from Portland at Rose Festival time will be singing in the rain, and the weather has turned out to be just wonderful for this day, as well it should. I would like to add my congratulations to all those that Dr. Crone mentioned, and particularly also the family and friends of all of the graduates today. I know that sometimes you wondered whether it was worth it. Sometimes you stood by your students, and you know, today we're here to celebrate a great achievement on their part and also on yours. I also want to congratulate the dreamers, the people that helped put this school together. And Dr. Crone mentioned some of them, but I will start with our president, President Phil Pomerantz, who started dreaming of a medical school in California way back in the 1970s and made it happen. Today, Western University stands as one of the largest graduate health sciences universities in the country. And it's all due to the vision he had way back then, and has made it happen clear up through today. And while we are sorry to see him retire after all these years, I want to say to you, Doctor, thank you very much for the service and the dreams that you've brought to this profession. Also to Samaritan Health and their CEO, Larry Mullins, to Dr. And Dean Clint Adams, who was the first dean of this school, and also to Dean Crone, who stood by in the building, all three of them, building of this university, and made it happen. These are people who, if you had asked them in 2006, are we going to have a medical school in Oregon, would have said, huh? But when they were asked again, they said yes. And so that's one of the major reasons we are here today. And finally, I think not enough thanks can be given to the city of Lebanon, to their leadership, to Mayor Ken, and to all of the citizens who have welcomed us, welcomed our students, made them feel at home in this community. So I would like to ask the members of the Lebanon community if you will stand and be recognized for just one moment. Thank you very much. You know, the half of my speech was taken up by the invocation, the other half was taken up by the dean. It's not that I don't have more to say. But they talked about the fact that commencement is really a celebration, but it's also a beginning. And I think it's the beginning that we need to pay a little attention to, because even though today is all about you, the graduates, the good news and the bad news is tomorrow is all about you also. And it's all your responsibility. And what you do from this day forward really is up to who you decide to be and how you decide to be with your education, with your families, and with the communities you live in. And I'd like to offer a few words about what I think it takes, not only to make a good doctor, but a good husband, a good wife, a good family member, and a good member of the community. It starts with the word, in my opinion, listen. And listening is a real important skill. Some of the research that's been done about listening habits of physicians is that they find that physicians usually interrupt their patients within 18 seconds of having walked through the door. I hope that you will not be part of that statistic, because one of the things to keep in mind is, with regard to your patients, you rarely know very much about them, and you won't know anything about them unless you listen. And listen very carefully. You know, the silence that's in the room is not yours to fill, it's for them. It's for them to finally open up and talk about what they're afraid of, you know, what they're afraid to talk about, what they've never told anybody else. And if they know you care about them, they'll tell you, but you have to give them the opportunity. And so listening is probably the first and best trait I think that you can adopt. And it takes time, because you've got all this knowledge and you've got all this wisdom, and you're ready to tell people about all of that. But your patients really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. And that will take time, and it will take honest listening in order to really build the trust that you need with them. And so ask yourself two questions. First of all is, what haven't they told you? because there will always be an answer to that. And look for what they haven't told you, because within what they haven't told you will tell you what kind of care they really need. The second is to think about what kind of questions you haven't asked before you go on to diagnose and treat. And you'll find that when you ask that question, you'll actually come up with something. You know, you won't say, well, I've asked everything, but if you ask yourself that question honestly, it's amazing that you'll find out, I just thought of something. And that something is fairly important. The second thing about your patients is to love them. You know, we all carry prejudices with us, and we all have them. It's a human trait. And so we tend to carry those prejudices into every aspect of our working lives and our daily lives. In a physician's life, that's really fairly dangerous, because your prejudices have nothing to do with that patient. They have to do with your past experiences. And really, if you take time to think about the person in front of you, to ask about what they have been through, to understand, you know, the trials and tribulations that they face that you may never have even thought of, then you begin to develop a thing called compassion. And with compassion comes a real ability not to care in terms of a medical sense, but to care in terms of a human sense. And that's what's important. You know, your patients are really children of God that should get all of the love you have to give them. They aren't perfect. You know, they will do things you don't approve of, starting with smoking, eating too much, and that list goes on. But, you know, you're there to help them see a better future, not to criticize them for their past or criticize them for what you think is their past. Now, I talk about forgiveness in this particular aspect, and forgiveness, I think, is fairly tricky word. I use it in these terms. Forgiveness is giving up the hope of a better yesterday. And if you think about the patients you see, forgive them for what they did yesterday. You know, that's not anything you can change. It's what they do tomorrow that you can help them with. And so practice forgiveness with your patients. Do not hang them with the past. Help them build their own future. Lastly, I think in terms of lessons that you can take away from here is to learn something new every day. I had the experience of hearing a high school teacher in Salem, Oregon give a commencement address way back in the 70s. Her name was Mary Eyre, and some of you who are a little older, at least my age, may remember her. But she was a very celebrated school teacher in Salem. And her comment was, the day you quit learning is the day you die. She believed that she could learn something new every single day. And as a physician, and also as a person, if you practice that, you'll find there is something new to learn every day. I do remember a story. Actually, it occurred in a classroom I was in once upon a long time ago. And the professor asked one of the students, thank God it wasn't me, said, what did you learn today? And the student answered, it said, well, not anything that I can think of. And the professor's answer back was, well, you learned one thing. And the student said, what was that? He said, you learned that you don't pay attention. So remember that answer if you come up with something you didn't learn today. I guess the last thing I would say is you have received a tremendous gift from this university, and that is the gift of an osteopathic education. And I would charge you to all be proud of that education. Be proud that you are now a DO. You'll be faced with a number of challenges. Some of those are prejudices from the old guard about what a DO is and what an osteopathic education is and what the value of manipulation is. But this profession has endured for over 100 years. And there's a reason. And the reason is because osteopathic medicine has brought a great deal of value to this country and to the patients that they have served. So always be proud of what you've learned. Be proud of what you do. You know, it may not be that all of you will be good manipulators. Manipulation is one of the tools of the trade. But all of you will have an extra measure of abilities in your diagnoses and in your caring for your patients. And that's what you should be proud of. I would say one other thing as you go out. You are now becoming part of the privileged class, and that is physicians. You will be looked on by society as a person who has more privileges than others, and it will be true. And so, two things to remember. Number one is to be generous. You know, be generous in your spirit, be generous in your caring for your patients, and be generous with whatever material things you have. You know, learn to give back because the community notices all of these. And the profession needs you to be viewed not only as a good doctor, but as a generous spirit. And the second is, remember those who follow. There are a lot of people that have invested great things and great educations in each of you. And so remember the classes that follow. Remember the students that will come afterwards for many years here at Compton Northwest and give of your time, give of your talent, and give of your spirit to them to teach them what you have learned, which is how to be a great physician. I will say one other thing before I close, and that is I've gotten to know a number of you. I've gotten to watch all of you, even though you didn't know it. You know, this class is special beyond measure in one thing particular, and that is you are one of the most gracious, most caring, and happiest group of medical students I have ever met. And that's a compliment, so good for you. So take that with you and pass it back to your future DOs as they come along. And again, my congratulations to all of you, to all of the parents and the spouses and wives. You have got a great doctor in your family. I wish you the best in the future. Thank you.
Appreciation for being our inaugural class keynote speaker. Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to introduce our next keynote speaker, Dr. Larry Mullins, who is President and Chief Executive Officer of Samaritan Health Services, an integrated healthcare system of hospitals, physicians, clinics, health plans, and other health operations in Oregon. A veteran of the Marine Corps, Dr. Mullins served in South Vietnam with the 26th Marine Regiment and the 1st Marine Division. He is an active community leader. He received the 1996 Robert C. Ingalls Business Person of the Year Award from the Corvallis Chamber of Commerce, the 1997 McErchin CEO Award from the Public Relations Society of America, and the 2001 Newcomer Executive of the Year Award from the American Academy of Medical Administrators. He was recognized by the American Hospital Association as one of its 2007 Grassroots Champions. The Oregon Health Forum honored Dr. Mullins with its Lifetime Leadership Award in 2008. In 2011, he was named Business Leader of the Year by the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce. Professionally, Dr. Mullins has achieved the designation of Diplomat in Healthcare Administration from the American Academy of Medical Administrators. He's a fellow in the American College of Healthcare Executives and has served as Regent and as Oregon Chapter President. He served the American College of Healthcare Executives Regent Award for the state of Oregon in 2014. And like Dr. Hetherington, serves on more boards and more committees that I'm going to read. Without further ado, It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Larry Mullins.
Well, congratulations, class of 2015. What a great day for you, and I know you're excited to get through this, so we'll do our part to try to get you there. I'm going to tell you a little story, though, about making a mark and giving forward. You know, you and your families are to be congratulated on the many years of hard work and sacrifice that have occurred to produce such a remarkable outcome, that of a physician who has the privilege of caring and treating others for generations to come. Our society recognizes and appreciates the value of a physician and grants you certain rights and privileges beyond others to carry out your calling. In return, we expect you to make your mark and give forward to others as others have done for you. Giving forward like the hard work and sacrifice of the original pioneers who settled near this very site in 1847. And at that time, they staked out their hopes and dreams of creating a home and community in what at that time was the wilderness. It's worth noting that one of those early pioneers was a physician named Allen Howell, who was known to Andrew Still, who I'm sure most of you know, but for the audience, was the father of your profession. Dr. Still was a pioneer in that he helped to change the face and practice of medicine and introduce new concepts of caring and health practices that are still taught to this day. He certainly made a mark and give forward. Or giving forward like the hard work and sacrifice of the generations of laborers and farmers who worked these fields, educators who taught in the schools, loggers who cut the timber, and laborers who created the roads. While recognizing the builders and developers, let's not forget the planners, skilled craftsmen, women donors, and others who built your school, this campus, and the beautiful gardens around us. They've been part of something that will give forward for generations, and I'd like to give them a hand. And let's not forget the hard work and sacrifice of modern healthcare pioneers and public officials like Phil Pomerantz, who essentially built a university from the ground up years ago and then had the courage to do it again in the Northwest. Nor can we forget other early pioneers like Jeff Heatherton, who just spoke to you, who mentioned he was aware of a medical school looking for a home. I think they found it, Jeff. It's right here. Okay. Mike Finley, and I don't know who all was in the audience, but Mike, who was the resident and student representative, who sold us on how easy we could start residency programs. He's a pretty good salesman, and he probably is best known for the number of schools and hospitals that he's helped to get training programs for all of you, some of which you're going to be entering here shortly. And let's certainly not forget Ben Cohen, the former provost, whose love of both medicine and music was touched when he toured this location, this hospital, and he heard the piano being played by one of our volunteers. Now, it might surprise some of you to think that what brought the school here, one of the elements of it, was music, but indeed it was. And if you go to the medical school, you'll see a piano symbolically over there representing Ben's love of music. And if you know Ben, how he felt the arts and medicine were indeed brought together. Let's not forget Betty Cohen, one of our staff, who charmed all of our visiting guests with her friendliness of the community and staff. And that friendliness is now permeated throughout the entire campus and the culture of the community. Our Clint Adams, like the former admiral he was, he took charge of the design and the build team and helped to construct our ship of the future. I believe he's what the Navy would call a plank holder. He was one of the original people that helped to build something really great. Bill Bryan, one of the outside consultants, a Jersey boy who came from the East Coast. He was going to tell us how all this worked, and actually he kind of did. But he helped to turn policy into practice and concept into reality. Bill Rao, one of our volunteers, he wanted to build a garden. He didn't want to build a garden, he wanted to build multiple gardens. You can see him across the street, you can see him here. But if it wasn't for his dream of that, we wouldn't have some of the beauty around us. Nor can we forget another early pioneer, Bob Adams. He made sure we built those gardens. Equally important, he made sure we could pay for it. And there's hundreds of volunteers in this community that did just that. Ken Toombs, another early pioneer in the community, the mayor of Lebanon, who literally drove me to the top of a hill here and said, you know, if this doesn't work, we may as well drive off the edge right now. That was literally his words, if he remembers. John Hitt, the city manager, who came to know how to process and expedite, which is one of the reasons we came to Lebanon. And it was said earlier, but the people of Lebanon who welcomed us with open arms and literally helped to create a dream into a reality. Becky Pape, where's Becky? She's in here somewhere. Becky, raise your hand. She's back there. Becky, one of our executives who managed not only the patients and the medical staff, but the planners, developers, contractors, and the corporate executives. Really a phenomenal multitasking process, which she still does well. And certainly Paula Crone. Where are you at? Back there. Yeah. And Paul Aversano. Where's Paul? I know. I'm looking for Paul Aversano. Where is he? There he is, back there, who left successful practices, and I really want you graduates to know the sacrifice that was entailed with that. A lifestyle that you couldn't beat. If you've ever seen Paul out on the golf course, you know what I'm talking about. He really had a great thing going there. But they both said, let's come down here and make this dream a reality. And last but not least, all of you, literally you were selected from hundreds of candidates through months and months of a selection process. And you were selected to be the first class. That's a novel and unique privilege to have, and one of the few times in your life you'll be able to have that. But you helped to build the school and the programs here that will serve for generations to come. All of you made a mark and have given forward. There's many others who helped to bring us here today at Comp Northwest, and much sacrifice has been made by many to create the opportunity you now have to serve others. The stories of all the people who made possible today are great ones, and they'll be told for years to come. What's important for you to know is that many have given much to make today possible, not only for you and your families, but for the generation of families you'll have the privilege to care for. We know you will honor that as you continue your training in your careers. That way, all will indeed have made a mark and given forward. It's been said that one of the greatest commencement gifts that can be given is brevity in our remarks. And I was impressed, Jeff, you were brief. And I was going to try to be briefer, but this time it's just not possible. And I was given 10 minutes to actually give my thoughts to you. I think now I've taken about 6.5 or 7. But what I want you to know is my gift to you today is to complete my presentation at this time. This is when you're supposed to go, okay, that's it, that's good, okay. So with that in mind, and not that we couldn't go on for hours about how proud of you we all are, let me close by saying that after all your hard work and sacrifice, your career and lifelong learning continues, and you have a wonderful opportunity to do as others have done to you, to make your mark and to give forward. We know you will. Good luck, God bless, and congratulations to the first graduates of Oregon's newest medical school, the class of 2015. Thank you. 7 minutes.
All right, thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very wise. Now, Dean, let's hand out some diplomas.
My colleague, Dr. Bowdry.
So this year is even more special for one particular student because he's the charter class of the MSMS program and is now graduating from the charter class of Comp Northwest. Can this student stand up and be recognized and congratulated?
Thank you, Dean Bowdry. Now, Mr. President, it is time to graduate these fine young men and women. And you're really going to make me do it, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
We have a long tradition at WesternU of graduating our OMM, NMM fellows first. These are truly special individuals who are selected and elect to spend an extra year of teaching and training. They become leaders of our university. This year, in honor of our inaugural class, they are allowing our first Comp Northwest inaugural class graduate to lead the commencement walk. Can our fellows, Molly McCormick and Alana Moreri, please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Now, will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine please stand and rise? Mr. President, the assembled candidates have met the requirements for graduation and have been recommended by our faculty for the degree of Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. It is my pleasure to present them to you.
Thank you, Dean. Graduates, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you, as you individually present yourselves, the degree of Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, with all the rights, honors, and privileges appertaining thereto. Will the graduates please come to the stage? And Dr. Gary Gugelchuk, our provost, will assist me in passing out the diplomas.
Dr. Megan Ann Abo.
Dr. Molly Marie McCormick. Dr. Alana Nicole Mowry.
Dr. Maha Bedr Abdullah. Dr. Dana Elizabeth Hansel Angeles. Dr. Graham R. Appleby. Dr. Brian Dean Beal. Dr. Kevin Bedford. Dr. Andrew Berglund. Dr. Sarah Beth Bobnick. Dr. Stephen Bolin. Dr. Mariah Walker Bonner. Dr. Alvin Richard Borgman. Dr. Jared Groves Brinkerhoff. Dr. Jeffrey David Buckley. Dr. Devin Burr. Dr. Joshua C. Capson. Dr. Scott Ernest Chandler. Dr. William Dean Chaplin. Dr. Marie Catherine Chase. Dr. Anne Marie Collum. Dr. Rebecca Louise Corbett. Dr. Keith Robert Cummings. Dr. Eileen Joy Delacruz Domingo. Dr. Ashley Victoria Egger. Dr. Gregory Scott Emfield. Dr. Elise Brinson Fazio. Dr. Jennifer Fody. Dr. Patricia Eileen Funk. Dr. Bradley Jacob Geyer. Dr. Lauren Monica Geyer. Dr. David Flair Goldman. Dr. Matthew Joseph Hadid. Dr. Matthew Howard Hardy. Dr. Brendan Matthew Hart. Dr. Jonathan Eric Hattenauer.
Dr. Richard Roy Holman. Dr. Patrick Wiley Horner. Dr. Huda Ajmal Ilyas. Dr. Valerie Rose Ng. Dr. Krista Nicole Jensen. Dr. Jared Raymond Joffer. Dr. Heidi B. Kenneflick. Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Kimes. Dr. Samantha Jean Kuba. Dr. Vladimir Kripustin. Dr. Marshall David Ladd. Dr. Bakchuat Lee. Dr. Catherine Joan Ledford. Dr. Stephen Dillon Ledford. Dr. Jessica Lee. Dr. Carl Christopher Leonard. Dr. Natalie Raywin Limoges. Dr. Evita Francisca Lopez. Dr. Robert Warren Luxinger. Dr. Jason Gregory Lelugian. Dr. Eve Karen McLean. Dr. Jennifer Judy Mayer. Dr. Rachel Gray Massoud. Dr. Ryan Gregg Massoud. Dr. Andrea Michelle Matson. Dr. John William McLean IV. Dr. Ryan Christopher McCurry. Dr. Elvina Mihanovich. Dr. Elizabeth Meyer Christina. Dr. Kay Miller Amanda. Dr. Pavel Mataro.
Dr. Stephen Zachary Morrill. Dr. Andrea Catherine Meidinger. Dr. Naomi Nadi. Dr. Chase Nelson Kimball. Oh. Dr. Hong Dan No. Dr. Matthew Brenton Nehemiah. Dr. Terrell Brandon Noel. Dr. Michelle O'Brien. Dr. Brittany Elaine Olson. Dr. Catherine Peters. Dr. Vernon Rosen Racia. Dr. Natalie Reynolds. Dr. Zachary Scott Ripley. Dr. James Rood. Dr. Mark Saw in absentia. Dr. Cody James Seeley. Dr. Brian Dwight Shalmadine. Dr. Eldon Ray Snyder. Dr. Christy Ann Spellings. Dr. Heidi May Stapley. Dr. Aaron David Stecker. Dr. Megan Sturdy. Dr. Elena Stiles. Dr. Acacia Dawn Sweda. Dr. Douglas Ray Tanner. Dr. Daniel McKellar Taylor. Dr. Stotts Raymer Fowda. Dr. Anne-Marie Thompson. Dr. Ryan Daniel Thompson. Dr. Joshua Robert Tiger. Dr. Michael Tran. Dr. Sydney Lee Wolf. Ladies and gentlemen, our final graduate, Dr. Daniel Thomas To Yi.
I give you the graduates of 2015.
When Dr. Kandari gives me that look, I always have to stop. What a day. Congratulations, graduates. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Paul Aversano, who will lead our graduate class in the osteopathic oath. Before he does, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him for all that he has done, my husband, my partner in this journey at Comp Northwest. As do all on our team, he wears many hats and never fails to represent our profession and our school. He is always our loudest cheerleader and fiercely loyal to our cause. He graduated from Des Moines College of Osteopathic Medicine in 1973, fell in love with neurology, and became the first osteopathic physician to do a residency at the Cleveland Clinic. He never stopped breaking down barriers, primarily by ignoring them and doing his very best to demonstrate, you know, Paul, what is right and what is good. He has served as Chief of Staff, Director of Medical Education, received more awards than he cares about, and I know that because they end up in a box in my garage. And he practiced his love of neurology and took care of his patients in Portland before he retired and transitioned to academic medicine and this journey at Comp Northwest. His biggest professional honor has always been teaching his students. Dr. Aversano.
It is my great honor to be asked to give the oath to the class of 2015. You know, Hippocrates practiced in the 5th century BC. The Hippocratic Oath, which is a rite of passage for all new physicians, started about 100 years later. The Osteopathic Oath was developed in 1934 and then redone in 1954. Or 1938 and 1954. The tenets of the oath are 3: to treat the sick to the best of your ability, to preserve patient privacy, and to teach the secrets of medicine to the next generation of physicians. That's a rite of passage. I hope all of you in the audience who are practitioners of healthcare will continue to do so. I would ask all physicians and other healthcare providers to please stand and reaffirm the oath with our class of 2015. Please rise. It's page 19 in your book, and I'll ask you to repeat after me. I do hereby affirm my loyalty to the profession I am about to enter. I will be mindful always of my great responsibility to preserve the health and the life of my patients. To retain their confidence and respect, both as a physician and a friend. Who will guard their secrets with scrupulous honor and fidelity. To perform faithfully my professional duties. To employ only those recognized methods of treatment consistent with good judgment and with my skill and ability, keeping in mind always nature's laws and the body's inherent capacity for recovery. I will be ever vigilant in aiding in the general welfare of the community. Sustaining its laws and institutions. Not engaging in those practices which will in any way bring shame or discredit upon myself or my profession. I will give no drugs for deadly purposes to any person, though it be asked of me. I will endeavor to work in accord with my colleagues in a spirit of progressive cooperation and never by word or by act cast imputations upon them or their rightful practices. I will look with respect and esteem upon all those who have taught me my art. To my college, I will be loyal and strive always for its best interests. And for the interests of the students who will come after me. I will be ever alert to further the application of basic biologic truths to the healing arts and to develop the principles of osteopathy, which were first enunciated by Andrew Taylor Still. You may be seated. Thank you. Next, it is my honor to be able to welcome the Alumni Association of Western University as represented by Mandolyn Hudson, D.O. Mandy and her husband, Ben Hudson, entered comp as part of the new track of the Northwest track in 2005. She graduated with her D.O. degree in 2009, joining Samaritan's psychiatry residency program at that time. She was the first mental health resident to join Samaritan following graduation from the program. Presently, she works with Trillium Family Services here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. She will bring a welcome to the new graduates on behalf of Western University Alumni Association. Dr. Hudson.
Doctors, graduates, I heard a sentiment which I'll share in a minute long ago that stuck. One of those things that made its way into my inner voice and pops up to guide me when I'm feeling rushed and frantic or have that sense of needing to push for the future. As you pursue internships and residencies, you will have a sense of needing to push for the future. You will want this year to be over, then the next, and then the next. You will say to yourself, when I'm in attending, life will be so much better. There's no doubt about it, internship and residency are tough. But you know what? It's also a very important part of your journey. Your journey. And really, truly, the journey is the thing. That's it, that sentiment I told you about earlier. The journey is the thing. Sure, the destination can be great and exciting, and making it to the destination should be celebrated, just as we all celebrate this destination of graduation today. But when you break it down, arriving at the destination is a short piece of time compared to the journey to get there. So that's what we must pay attention to. The moments, the little moments of time that add up to the journey. Without moments, life is nothing. If we rush through too many moments, if we ignore the moments of the present to push to the future, we are robbing ourselves of the very things that make up our lives. And the thing about these moments is that they are all opportunities to make intentional, mindful choices. When we think of choices, we often think of the big ones. What are we going to do for a specialty? Who are we going to marry? Where are we going to live? Are we going to have kids? Yes, those count very much, but I challenge you to pay extra special attention to the everyday choices, the seemingly mundane things that create moments that add up to our journey that is our life. I'd like to draw attention to just a few of these everyday choices that I think, if paid attention to, can make the difference between thriving and surviving, even as an intern. First, choose to stay curious, genuinely curious. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but it evolved the human. Be curious about patients. As soon as you think you already know it all, you'll be wrong. You'll miss a diagnosis, miss an opportunity to make a true difference in a patient's life, and miss a learning opportunity. You must always be curious about the whys and hows, and you must be patient enough to follow through on that curiosity to ask. But don't just be curious about patients in medicine. Be curious about your family, your significant other, your kids, your parents. Be curious about your surroundings, nature, the planet. Crave to know more. Crave to get real. Most importantly, though, stay curious about yourself. Dig deep. Don't just let life happen to you. Work to understand your feelings, your responses, your likes and dislikes. Now, I'm a psychiatrist, so I'll say go to therapy. Check in with friends and mentors. Ask why. You're kind of stuck for yourself for a while, so do the work to get to know you. The next choice you have is to be present in your community. And I don't mean in the obvious ways. Yes, it's great to volunteer to build a park or at a free clinic. Do those things. But in nearly every moment of our lives, we have the opportunity to choose to connect with others. Look someone in the eye, smile genuinely. Ask how they are doing and wait to hear the answer. Don't settle for superficial politeness. Be present enough to get the grit. The third everyday moment choice I encourage you to pay attention to is the choice to be the person you want to be now. Don't wait another moment. Don't wait until you're in attending with your dream job and your dream house. Be the person you envision. Be the person you hope to be by making the choice to do that right now. Doctors, colleagues, you are now a part of something much bigger than yourselves. As WesternU alumni, your work as a physician, as a human being, impacts not only your personal reputation, but collectively that of your college, especially as the first graduating class, our university, and our profession. Choose to continue to learn and be a torchbearer of compassionate, genuine, sincere healthcare and scientific excellence. Choose to stay connected by giving your time and experience to those who will join this journey next. Share with them your moments, your everyday choices that make you you, and make this career, this calling, a beautiful one to be a part of. It is now my pleasure to officially welcome you as alumni of Western University of Health Sciences. Will the members of the class of 2015 please rise? To signify your accomplishments and your change in status from students to alumni doctors, please move your tassel from the right side of your mortarboard to the left, placing it over your heart. Congratulations and welcome to the Western University Alumni Association.
You may be seated. President Pomerantz, our esteemed Board of Trustees, my fellow deans, faculty, staff, our Lebanon community and friends, and our honored guests. I've been thinking about my words today for a long time. Graduates, your class has affectionately been called our firstborn. You've been our trailblazers. All of us at Comp Northwest feel that we went through 4 years of medical school with you, as do so many of your friends and your supporters in our community. Paul and I have been humbled frequently as we have watched you learn and grow, gain confidence, find your voices, and grow into the doctors you became today. We are proud of each and every one of you. We've been preparing for our inaugural class commencement long before we ever broke ground. In some ways, in this state, we began preparing for it over 100 years ago when the first osteopathic physicians were licensed in Oregon. When you received your degree today, you joined a proud tradition, a proud heritage of osteopathic medicine. To our graduates, our newest members of the osteopathic profession, and the newest physicians to serve our nation's healthcare needs, on behalf of all of us at Comp Northwest, I wish to congratulate you. You did it. Celebrate this day, cherish the pride and the satisfaction of reaching this tremendous milestone. And to your families, your friends, and supporters, and to Lebanon, this community that opened up their arms and embraced you, all at Comp Northwest and WesternU wish to say thanks for helping this inaugural class become doctors. I also want to thank our faculty and staff who watch proudly today as you graduate. They gave much of themselves to help you become your best. Our Comp Northwest faculty who relocated to Lebanon, who gave up practices and distinguished professorships at other institutions, who believed in our mission even before we delivered upon it. Thank you for your sacrifices, thank you for your dedication, and thank you for believing in our mission. And to our WesternU Board of Trustees and to our president, who had the vision and the courage to build us to what we are today, thank you. To my fellow WesternU deans at our other 8 colleges, who are here today to celebrate with you and stand united at WesternU to deliver upon an educational promise that we all so dearly believe in. To our osteopathic deans nationwide, who are represented today by Dean Paul Evans from Marian University. I've already thanked them, but I'm going to do it once again to our community of Lebanon. I don't think enough can be said to thank them for helping to train this next generation of physicians by opening up your town and your hearts and embracing us so well. And to this class of 2015, we filled this class, you, with special young men and women. You truly were handpicked, and you've heard the stories. You were selected, as each subsequent class has been, with thought and care. You are a class of achievers who were impressive to start with, and you only continued to impress. We started off by setting the bar high, and you took that bar and you pushed it even higher so that all that follow build upon the tradition of excellence that was initially set. You were selected to be pioneers, to be trailblazers. You never failed in that spirit. How many town halls did you come to with me? Don't you think I'll ever forget about the, quote, garbage cans? Somewhere in town there's a big warehouse, right? You came with fortitude, determination, courage. You proved that you have stamina, heart, and character to earn your way into the ranks of osteopathic medicine. Never forget your compassion. You came with that, and I saw it only grow as you went through medical school. Graduates, with your diploma, with your white coat and your stethoscope, with your symbolic black bag that this town gifted to you, you enter a world where much is expected of you. You have chosen a life of dedication and a life of service. You have taken an oath. In exchange, you are accorded a very special place in our society. Use this carefully and use it respectfully. Use it wisely. Use it to be healers. Use it to be leaders in your communities and champions of your patients. You're entering an era of medicine where managing health and wellness is as important as managing disease, which is about time. This is an exciting time to be a physician. Your generation will help lead the direction medicine is moving and will help shape its transformation. We have a lot of hopes on your shoulders for that. With your medical education, you are given a great responsibility. Your patients will trust you with their lives and the lives of their families. They will trust you with the trivial to the serious, with their secrets, their fears, their worries, their injuries, and their illnesses. They will trust you with their health, and they will trust you with their wellness. This is a sacred responsibility. As a physician, you become woven into the fabric of their lives and become an integral part of their communities. To my graduates, and I'm speaking to each and every one of you from my heart to yours, I challenge you to be extraordinary, to be exceptional, to never settle for less. I challenge you to be courageous, to be leaders in your communities, and always the champions of your patients. I challenge you to be healers, not just doctors, to seek wellness, not just treat disease. I challenge you to be proud osteopathic physicians, to be proud of who you are, where you come from, and where you are going. And I challenge you not to only stand on the shoulders of the giants in our profession, and there are many, but to become the giant yourself so that others may stand on your shoulders in the future. Always strive for excellence and always keep your standards high. Your osteopathic medical education will serve you well. Now, as you heard me say 4 years ago, never forget to practice with purpose, passion, and skill, to use your head, your hands, and your heart, to listen and to care. I challenge each and every one of you to always remember, at the end of every action, every thought, every deed, there is your patient. Know that you will always hold a very special place in both Paul's and my heart, and the hearts of all of your Comp Northwest and WesternU family. You are our firstborn. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations, doctors, class of 2015. Mr. President, if you will, we have a special presentation for you.
Okay.
I would like to invite all of our WesternU family that are around the tent to please come forward. Please step into the tent and come forward and join us. Come all the way forward so President Pomerantz can see you. You represent the heart and the soul for him. Please come on forward. I would also like to invite my fellow deans to come up to the podium and share the podium with me. As all of you have heard, This is our president's last commencement ceremony after a very distinguished and honored 38-year career at WesternU as our founding president. Sir, for 38 years, you led WesternU from its birth to its current pinnacle. With your 34 graduate classes at Comp, totaling 4,907 Comp alumni, including your 100 newest from your inaugural class of Comp Northwest, and over 12,000 total graduates from all 9 colleges and 22 degree programs. Your contributions to the healthcare of the United States are truly remarkable. Our ceremony today marks the first Comp Northwest commencement, as well as the end of an era with your final commencement. But I remind you, you leave behind a strong foundation upon which we will continue to grow, in footsteps that will be hard to equal, much less hard to follow. You've truly left a legacy for which we are all thankful, and through your efforts and those of your alumni, you have made an impact on millions of patients, not only across this country, but across the world. Your deans have each had an opportunity to present you with recognition and appreciation in each of their graduations at their commencements in Pasadena 2 weeks ago. Today, we stand shoulder to shoulder as we collectively say thank you. Your Comp Northwest inaugural class of 2015 would like to present you a gift, and I'd like to invite our first and our last graduate to come forward and present this present to President Pomerantz. This is a tree of life that they painted.
That's beautiful.
And Dr. May, I'd like to invite you forward. Dr. May was present for the very first commencement with President Pomerantz and for this one today. And in appreciation, Dr. May, these roses symbolize each graduation you have presided over. A similar bouquet has been sent to your home today from Mrs. Pomerantz. Thank you.
Thank you, my friends, my colleagues. I suppose this is a concluding statement. This is the way to end this ceremony in 38 years. But I want to take a moment to recognize that none of us do anything alone in a vacuum. We do it with the help of a lot of people, and you saw the people that make Western University what it is. So I would ask you to think about those who helped you, this graduating class, who helped you, your parents, your spouses, your friends, all of those folks who made a difference in your lives, and then you make a difference in others' lives. And with all of those people, the relatives, the family, the friends, grandmothers and grandfathers, wives and husbands, would you stand so that the graduates could recognize you? Also, in another part of the West Coast, there's another person who's responsible for whatever successes I had. And she's home right now, watching the ceremony with a device that my grandkids know about. It's screaming or steaming or one of those things. So my grandkids and my secretary understand all of that stuff. And so she's at our home listening to this. So, hi, honey. All of this is for you as well. And when I wrote the following words for this commencement closing remarks, I did it with you in mind and with Harriet. And it reminded me that each of us triumphed over some very unique challenges. And now I think we can believe that anything is possible. Just look around here, see what you did with this community and with this college. All of those things are possible. So I think the challenges that we face may only have made us more determined to get where we are today. It may have become the substance that made it work. And one of the best examples of the notion that all things are possible for those who strive for them is the life of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Even though FDR was stricken by polio as a young man, he did not allow his condition to prevent him from overcoming two great challenges. You may remember from your history lessons that was World War II and the Depression. It's remarkable that even though Roosevelt could not stand on his own legs without help, the rest of the world stood on his shoulders. This man, whose own strength couldn't support himself, was strong enough to support millions. So when a person is determined, what can stop him or her? This refers to us. Cripple him and you have a Sir Walter Scott. Bury him in the snows of Valley Forge and you have a George Washington. Afflict her with epilepsy and you have a Harriet Tubman. Have him born to abject poverty and you have an Abraham Lincoln. And rob her of her hearing and sight and you have a Helen Keller. And then hinder him with severe rheumatoid arthritis. You have a Renoir. Remember, the hurdles in life are not sent by an unkind destiny to crush, but to challenge and then to uplift. I know that you're ready for the demands in your future, and so I wish you all Godspeed, and I declare the inaugural Northwest Commencement exercises closed. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, following the recessional, we will have an open house over in the Comp Northwest building. Our graduates will be making their way into the Samaritan Center to pick up their diplomas. Please meet them outside of the Samaritan Center following the recessional. Thank you.